Global War 36 enthusiast here with Operation Regimental Combat Team, Turn 5.5, Commonwealth. It is July 1938. The Commonwealth has 2 tech rolls. First, I tried for radar to 7 or higher. PPE generated a 5, so I failed. Second, I tried for anti-submarine warfare to 7 or higher. PPE generated another 5, so I failed. Let's go to purchases. Great Britain has 16 IPP to spend. I will purchase 3 militia for 6, 1 infantry for 3, that's 9, 1 airborne infantry for 3, that's 12, and 1 anti-aircraft artillery for 4, bringing me to 16. For FEC, I have 7. Is that right? 7 IPP to spend. My notes are wrong. I don't have 8. I have 7 IPP to spend. Purchase 1 anti-aircraft artillery for 4 and save 3. ANZAC has 6 IPP to spend. I will purchase 1 militia for 2 and lend-lease 1 anti-aircraft artillery to the KMT for 4. That's 6. All right, combat movement. I don't have any actual combat, but there's a number of moves where I move things through the Varsity Submarine Conference, the JV Submarine Conference, and the Italian Navy that's sitting here in M4. I also move things through these German subs. I reached out to both Hambone and Sarge's Shell Hole to see if they would want to declare war. It really doesn't make sense for them to declare war, bringing me to wartime economy, letting me align, having the French and British be able to align, and then Italy could potentially get hit. So it just didn't make sense for Italy and certainly for Japan. They would give America 5D12 if they declared war on the Commonwealth. So it didn't make sense for any of those 3 nations to declare war. But I did reach out before I made these moves. So let's start off over here in Calcutta. In Calcutta, the Anzac Naval Transport leaves port to Sea Zone I-11 and then moves 1 to I-12, 2 to I-7, and 3 to I-4, and then goes in port in Aden. In Sea Zone I-7, the British Naval Transport moves to Sea Zone M8, so 1, 2, 3, up here to M8, and then it will go in port in Lower Egypt. From Gibraltar, this naval transport will leave port to Sea Zone A44, and then it will move up to Sea Zone A21, and then go in port in southern England. This is kind of out of order because this should be a non-combat move, but just so I can do the swapperoo, the naval transport that's currently in southern England during non-combat movement, it will leave port to Sea Zone A21, strategic naval move into Sea Zone A22, pick up the 2 Marines, and then move 4 spaces down to A44 and go in port in Gibraltar. So essentially the net effect will be to teleport these 2 guys down to Gibraltar. Is that right? I think that's right. Yep, okay. Let's see. Okay, I gotta scratch this out. This isn't right. All right, from southern England, there's a fighter here. It is going to fly to C zone A23 and go on map. All right. From C zone A21, a destroyer will move over to C zone A18 and go on convoy escort duty. And I think that's the end of my combat moves. So now we are proceeding to non-combat. From London, the militia and infantry will move to southern England. Let's see where, this is not right. So sorry, so many errors. Okay, from, I already did the strategic naval move. Okay, in C zone A21, one torpedo boat destroyer will move down to C zone A27. From C zone A21, one torpedo boat destroyer will go in port with the naval transport. From C zone A21, this task force, consisting of 2 battleships, 1 battlecruiser, 1 coastal defense ship, 1 destroyer, 2 submarines, will move over to C zone A23. From this task force, the 2 destroyers and the 2 battleships and the battlecruiser will go in port in London. You can see why I want to be really careful and make sure I get this correct. Down in C zone A44, I have this task force. From that task force, 1 light carrier with a tactical bomber, 1 destroyer, and 1 Anzac destroyer will move up to C zone A27. That's C zone A27. Okay, so let's review what that was. That's a light carrier, a British destroyer, and an Anzac destroyer will join the British torpedo boat destroyer and the French torpedo boat destroyer in A27. From C zone A44, 1 fighter will leave this light carrier and fly to southern England. From Gibraltar, this seaplane will fly 1 to A44, 2 to A46, 3 to A48, 4 to A51, 5 to A53, and then land in Southwest Africa. Let's see if I can get that on camera. There you go. From C-Zone A44, this light carrier will move up to C-Zone A21 and then go in port in southern England. Okay, so over here in Western Egypt, this infantry will move over to Lower Egypt. From Lower Egypt, the air transport is going to fly to Gibraltar. And then we'll go to India. No, I'm sorry. There's a combat move that I forgot to list. It's from South Africa. Is that the one that I thought was erroneous? No. Oh yeah, I just skipped it. Okay, so from South Africa, one naval transport. This should have been during combat move, meant to let them declare war on me. One naval transport leaves port I-1 carrying 1 infantry and 1 anti-aircraft artillery. That was supposed to come after the transport from Gibraltar went up to C-Zone A21 and went in port. You know, the swapperoo. That's where I got messed up when I did my out of sequence. Anyway, this guy will leave port to here. It'll pick up an anti-aircraft from Cape Town and an infantry from South Africa. It'll move 1 into I3, 2 into I4, 3 into I5, drop off the infantry and anti-aircraft artillery in Lower Egypt and go in port in Lower Egypt. All right. So let's see. I think we're moving over to India. So here in Delhi, 1 FEC infantry will strategic rail move to Calcutta. From southern India, 1 British infantry, 1 FEC infantry, and 1 British anti-aircraft artillery will move into Calcutta. Okay, that's the end of my movement for the Commonwealth. Now, placement of units down in Anzac, or down in Sydney. I will put 1 militia there in Sydney, bringing me up to 2 militia in Sydney. The disposition. Sorry about this, I'm just paranoid about turning my camera sideways. Okay, the disposition is 2 militia, 1 infantry, 1 motorized infantry in Sydney, and in North Island and South Island of New Zealand is a militia each. In Hong Kong, an infantry. In Sarawak, a militia. In British Malaya, a militia. In Ceylon, a militia. All right, placement of units here for FEC. I will build another anti-aircraft artillery, and then I should do the Lend-Lease delivery. From Sydney, the Lend-Leased anti-aircraft artillery moves up to Queensland and embarks in Queensland. Then it moves to C-Zone P53 and refuels at New Britain. Then it moves 1, 2, 3 to Guam, 4 to P33. No, that's not correct. 3 to Guam, 4 is P42, so could interdict, and then 5 to P41 goes in Quang Tung. So that brings the KMT to 3 anti-aircraft artillery. As Bruce says, 3 is the magic number. All right. So let's collect income for FEC and ANZAC, and then we'll continue to place units for Great Britain. So FEC collects 7. They saved 3, so they end the turn with 10. ANZAC spent everything, so they end the turn with 5. Okay, placement of units for Britain. I'll put an infantry in Cape Town. It's going to be just there. And then we will put in Cyprus 1 militia. And that leaves us 4 units to go in England. Which is going to be 2 militia will go into London. No, into southern England. So that'll bring me up to 4 militia total in southern England. And then in London will be airborne infantry and an anti-aircraft artillery. And Great Britain collects 16. All right, now we start France's turn. France has 1 tech roll. I've got that teed up. Let me move this over to the French purchases. I don't think I went over the French purchases. I'm going to roll for long-range aircraft. I succeeded with a 9. It's just heartbreaking to be above average luck with the French and below average luck with the British. Oh gosh. Okay. I'm trying to be a better person and not whine. So I'm trying. I just can't help myself. All right. Purchases. I've got 12 IPP to spend. I will purchase 4 militia for 8 and 1 anti-aircraft artillery for 4. Let's see. Combat movement. From C-Zone A44, 1 destroyer will move to C-Zone M8 and go on escort duty. And from A44, 1 destroyer will move to C-Zone M4 and go on escort duty. From C-Zone A46, 1 destroyer and 1 light cruiser. Is that right? Yeah, they'll move to go on escort duty here in A44. I think that's it for combat movement. Nope, I got 1 more. From A27, 1 torpedo boat destroyer will go to A18 and go on escort duty. Oh, no, I got 2 more moves. Good, this is why you need notes. So from Normandy, 1 fighter will go to C-Zone A21 and go on Maritime Air Patrol. And then down in French Morocco, 1 medium bomber will fly to C-Zone A44 and go on Maritime Air Patrol. If I can get this guy on the flight stand here. Should have had that teed up already. All right. Now I think we're done with combat movement. So non-combat movement, one battleship from A21 will move to A23, and another battleship from A21 will move to A44. It's not on escort duty, it's just sitting in the sea zone in A44. Okay, now that's, oh, I forgot. Yeah, I'm gonna strategic naval move. Is that true? Can I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can, but do I want to do that? Yeah, I'm gonna strategic naval move these two naval transports to I4. So it's 1 to M2, 2 to M4, 3 to M8, 4 to I5, and then 5 to I4. Okay. Let's do some moves here in France. Gonna shore up Picardy. From Paris, 1 anti-aircraft artillery will move to Picardy. And 3 infantry will move to Picardy. And then this force from Normandy, which is 4 infantry, 1 mountain, 1 foreign legion, and 2 motorized. They will all move to Picardy. So all that's in Picardy. Yeah, okay. So placement of units. 1 militia is going to get placed in Alsace-Lorraine. So that'll bring me up to 4 militia, 1 artillery in Alsace-Lorraine. And then 3 militia will get placed in Paris. 3 militia and an anti-aircraft artillery. So that'll bring me from 4 up to 7 militia and an anti-aircraft artillery. All right. Collect income. France ends the turn with 10 IPP. It's funny, I didn't do the Panzer J count back my units, and I made a mistake. Last turn, caught by Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. All right, let's do disposition of forces. I think I already did FEC and Anzac. So, in northern England, 1 militia. In southern England, 4 militia, 2 infantry, and an anti-aircraft artillery, a fighter, and a medium. Oh, I wanted to move that medium bomber. The medium bomber is going to fly to Gibraltar. Boy, so many mistakes. Okay, let's put that medium bomber down in Gibraltar. Ah! All right. Going back up to disposition. In southern England, 1 light carrier, 1 torpedo boat destroyer, 1 naval transport in port. In Sea Zone A21, a French fighter on map. In London, airborne infantry and a anti-aircraft artillery. In port in London, 2 battleships and a battle-cruiser. In Sea Zone M23, 1 French battleship. There's a little naval task force there in M23, which is a coastal defense ship, 1 destroyer, and 2 submarines. And there's that fighter that's on map there in A23. I think I covered everything over here. Let's do France. In Picardy, there are 7 infantry, 1 mountain infantry, 1 foreign legion, 2 motorized infantry, 1 anti-aircraft artillery. In Alsace-Lorraine, 4 militia, 1 artillery. In Paris, 7 militia, 4 infantry, 1 anti-aircraft artillery. In Sea Zone A-18 on escort duty, 1 British destroyer, 1 French torpedo boat destroyer. In A-27, a light carrier with a tactical bomber, 1 British destroyer, 1 Anzac destroyer, 1 British torpedo boat destroyer. In Sea Zone A-44, there's this task force here. There's a French battleship on escort duty. There's a French light cruiser and a French destroyer. On map is a French medium bomber. And then here on this task force card, there is a heavy cruiser, a British light cruiser, an Anzac light cruiser, 4 British destroyers. In port in Gibraltar, there's a battleship, 2 heavy cruisers, a light cruiser. I want to bring this light cruiser out of port into this task force card. So that light cruiser is at sea. All right, Gibraltar. 1 in port. Also, there's a naval transport. I don't think I said that. Okay, 1 militia, 2 infantry, 2 marines, 2 anti-aircraft artillery, an air transport, and a medium bomber. In Southwest Africa is a seaplane, and in Cape Town, an infantry. Malta, a militia. In Sea Zone M8, there's a French destroyer on escort duty. In M4, there's a French destroyer on escort duty. In Lower Egypt, there is 1 militia, 4 infantry, and 1 mountain infantry, and an anti-aircraft artillery. In port on the northern side of Lower Egypt is a naval transport. In port on the southern side of Lower Egypt are 2 heavy cruisers, a destroyer, and a naval transport. In Aden, in port, there is an Anzac naval transport. Oh, I want to move this. God, I'm so sorry, you guys. I want to move this coastal sub from I-4 to I-5, joined the big leagues. He got promoted to varsity. Okay. Let's see, is there anything I'm missing here? I don't think so. I think I covered everything. I don't know if I did Calcutta, did I? I probably didn't go over the disposition of Calcutta. So I've got 2 British infantry, 7 FEC infantry, 2 Anzac, take this guy off, sorry. 2 Anzac infantry, 1 Gurkha, 2 Anzac artillery, 2 British anti-aircraft artillery, 2 FEC anti-aircraft artillery, and a fortification that is partially built. Next up is Hambone with turn 5.7, Italy.